Hi guys, we're going to talk about the Apollo program real quick. The Apollo program, the primary objective of it was to get a human on the moon and return them safely home. And it started in 1969 and the program lasted until 1975, although we were not flying astronauts to the moon that entire time. In all, we had 17 Apollo missions. The first was slated to happen in 1967. That was Apollo 1 right here. And then Apollo 17 landed on the moon in 1972. So the program started before and went on well after. And not every single mission, you'll see that we kind of skip around in numbers here a little bit. When NASA comes up with any program, they lay out the entire program and they have a certain objective for each of the missions within it. And sometimes those missions either don't work out, or maybe they learn so much from this previous mission that the second one isn't necessary anymore, or it changes the one in the future. So not every single mission will be carried out, but they're all important stepping stones. So some of them just kind of turn into research missions. So we have landed 12 astronauts in total on the moon in that time. Apollo 1 was actually here. Let me go back here. Apollo 1 ended very tragically with the 3 astronauts dying in a test inside the module, and the hatch wouldn't open. Apollo 11 is a very popular one, right? That is where we land on the moon. Apollo 13 was also another very interesting one that we'll learn quite a bit about next week. Okay, and then these later ones were, there was a lot of geology here. You think about getting up to the moon. All of this was in preparation to get to the moon. We got to the moon, and then over here, this is where we're really studying it and doing a lot of the science that we went there to do. So how does a person get to the moon? Well, the Apollo missions had the Saturn V rocket system. Super cool. Mr. Kaditz has a big Lego set of this whole thing that comes apart, and it's really, really neat if you ever have a chance to stop in his room. But this is the whole rocket that is on the launch pad. Okay, so it's really, really big, like 39 stories tall. And really all that ends up at the end of it all, on the moon is right up here. This is where the command module is, and this is where the lunar lander is, okay? These big stages, as they call them, or fuel or boosters to get them up and out, they fall away pretty quickly. So the first stage and the second stage, they'll end up in the ocean after launch. Not right after launch, but once the rocket has enough velocity to get up and out of the atmosphere and go into orbit, these two will fall away and they'll land in the ocean, which is why we have our launch pad near the ocean. They'll fall away and they'll just sink to the bottom of the ocean, and that's kind of where they'll stay, and coral will grow over them and fish will think it's just like the coolest thing ever. This one here, this third stage, stays with the spacecraft a little bit longer. It'll actually stay up until they get into the moon's orbit, and this part will come off and these two things turn around, and when everything is set and good, this one will also fall away. Okay, and so what you end up with is just this little lunar module and a command module, and it has a little a way to kind of fire engines on board this in order to course correct and change directions a little bit. But the bulk of what you see on a launch pad does not end up anywhere near the destination. Okay, so the Saturn V was super, super successful. It was used in all of the Apollo missions and is kind of a historical spacecraft that was engineered by the folks at NASA. I'm going to attach a couple videos to the lesson as well today. Just want to give you a little bit more of an overview of what this all looks like. I can explain it, but seeing it in a video actually makes a little bit more sense of how these things all come apart and reattach and land on the moon. And then also I wanted to give you a little heads up about some of the bigger milestones in the Apollo program, some of the other missions that are really notable. And then you'll have an assignment to choose one of the Apollo missions today and do one of your slides on it. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.